Good afternoon, everybody. So we have divided. So in case we go to the RSE overview, we have given the journey, key strengths, government's trusted arm, Maharatna status, foray into the infrastructure sector, shareholders outlook, and awards and accolades. So RSE journey started from the year 1969. It has already completed 50 years of existence. Our foundation day was just on 25th of July this year itself. And in 2023. In case we go to the main things which we did in the last one and a half years. So in 2023, we did the largest drain bond of USD 750 million. That was the largest one by the Southeast Asian issuer, and first after the G20 presidency also. And RSE has also been an agency for the rooftop solar scheme, and it also did the maiden yen bond issuance of JPY 61.1 billion. That is almost equivalent to about 420 million US dollars in the year 2022. So RSE has been raising funds from the international market frequently. So number of term loans RSE has raised, and the bond issuance also RSE has done number of them in the last one and a half year. In case we go to the key strengths of RSE, RSE is a Maharatna company, and it is a strategic player in the Indian power infrastructure and logistics sector. It is nodal agency under the RDSS, Slovakia, Dindiyal Upadhyay. Whatever the schemes of the Government of India, Ministry of Power were there, RSE was always a nodal agency in all of those schemes. It occupies a strategic position in the growth and development of the power and renewable energy sector, and it has the highest credit rating from all the four major domestic rating agencies, that is AAA, and international rating at par with the sovereign rating, that is Baa3 from Moody's and BBB minus from Fitch. In addition to that, for the Japanese bond issuance, RSE also got the Japan Credit Rating Agency, which is also at par with the sovereign rating, that is BBB plus. It has the healthy asset quality with adequate provisioning coverage ratio, diversified asset base with robust access to diversified funding sources, and strong fundamentals and profitable business with stable margins leading to strong profitability. It is an experienced management team with sector expertise. So as already I have told you, RSE is the nodal agency in almost all whatever the schemes, the flagship schemes of the Ministry of Power are there. RSE got the Maharatna status in the year 2022-23. It has been granted to the top performing PSUs, and RSE is out of the 13 PSUs which have been accorded this Maharatna status. There are certain advantages which are essential. RSE has also forayed into the infrastructure and logistics sector in the year 2022, in the month of September 2022. So the various areas which are covered under this is health, metro, portways, waterways, airport, oil refinery, roads, highways, IT, infra and fiber optics, and steel infra. So in case we see the shareholders outlook, as on 30th June 2024, 52.63% of the shareholding is there with the PFC, that is the holding company, and FPIs and FIIs have been consistently holding more than 20% in RSE. So at present their holding is 20.43%, and the corporate banks and mutual funds etc. also holding about 10%. In addition to that, the individuals, HUFs and the NRIs, they are holding about 11%. So there has been phenomenal increase in the RSE share price in the last one and a half year. As on 30th June 2023, RSE share price was 166.23 and increased to 525.4 as on 30th June 2024. So in case we see the RSE is earning per share, that is 13.07, and on annualized basis it's 52.28, and the book value per share is 274.77. The total shareholders return during the last 1 year itself to the shareholders is 226%. That is without taking into consideration the dividend which has been declared today. These are the top 10 shareholders. The power finance, the mutual funds and the insurance companies are there, so who are holding this. In addition to that, Government of Singapore is also holding about 1.2%. So number of awards and accolades RSE has got. As far as corporate governance is concerned, RSE gives a lot of importance to that, and it has also been awarded the Plaque Award under the financial service sector by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for excellence in financial reporting for the year 2023. So number of other awards are also there which have been given to RSE in the renewable sector, and best employer in the diversified and inclusion, sustainability champion and Editor's Award. And for the year 2023-24, RSE is amongst the 20 most profitable companies as per the BSE and Moneycontrol. Now, going to the operational performance, the this has been divided into 6-7 segments, roughly sanctions, disbursement, outstanding loan, pan India presence, etc. As far as sanctions are concerned, in Q1 FY25, the total sanctions which were made by RBI with the approvals were 1,12,791 crore rupees. As compared to the corresponding period of the last year, it was higher by 24%. The last year it was 90,797, and the increase in renewable, including large hydro, in Q1 itself was 59%. So in all the sectors, in case we see, there is a phenomenal increase as far as the sanctions are concerned. Only in case of LPS and LIS, this scheme which is almost over, and the special loans which were virtually not capex loan, in all other categories there is a quite higher increase in the sanctions. As far as the disbursements are concerned, this is the highest first quarter disbursement which have been made by the RSE, and the total amount of disbursement which were made was 43,652, and as compared to the corresponding period of the last year, it is higher by 28%. And the increase in renewable, including large hydro, in Q1 was 249%. In case we see the outstanding loan composition, the state constitutes about 89% and private about 11%. And out of that, generation conventional constitute about 1,47,913, that is about 28%, and renewable, including large hydro, 42,936, that is 8%, and transmission 9%. The share of the renewable in the total loan composition is increasing. Previous year is 17%. As on 30th June, in case we see the period of 1 year before that, that was 17%. Now also it is 17%. So virtually it is maintained at about 17%. So this we are able to maintain for the last 2-3 years. RCS Pan India presence, we have lent to almost all the states. We have lending to 28 states, and the amount which has been lent to the state sector is 4,07,653. That is 89%, and private sector borrowers 59,086. And the total, these we have mentioned here, the Tamil Nadu Generation Distribution Company, Maharashtra, these are all state sector borrowers. And the main thing to mention here is that there is no NPA in this top 10 account in the entire history of RSE from the year 1969. And we have a well-diversified asset portfolio with top 10 borrowers accounting for about 37% of the outstanding loans, and none of the top 10 borrowers account for more than 7% of the total loan. In case we see the asset quality is consistently improving. As on December 22, it was the gross NPA was 3.63%. Now it has come down to 2.61%, while the net NPA has come down from 1.12% to 0.82%. And the provisioning coverage ratio is also at 68.48%. So the reasonable level of the provisioning coverage ratio is maintained in respect of the stress tests. That is 68.48%. And stage 1 and stage 2 assets constitute about 5,15,929. So it's only 13,810 that is NPA. So on file maintained a provision of 3,395, that is 0.66%. And the total ECL provision which is maintained as of date is 12,850. In case we see the credit grade assets, there are total 16 projects which are under different stages of resolution, and under NCLT there are 12 projects. These constitute 12,262 crore, and the 71% provision has already been made. In the past, we have seen that in all the cases which are under NCLT where resolutions are happening, there are substantial write-backs that are happening. So in current year also we are expecting that most of the assets will be resolved, and there will be write-backs in almost all the assets. And rupees 1,542 crore is the resolution which is pursued outside NCLT, and there are 4 projects whereby 49% provision is being put in. In case we see the credit ratings, already mentioned that we have the rating at par with the sovereign rating as far as the international rating is concerned from Moody's, Fitch and Japan Credit Rating Agency, and domestically we have the highest credit rating from all the 4 rating agencies, that is CRISIL, ICRA, CARE and India Rating Research. In case we see the outstanding borrowing profile, the total amount which RSE has borrowed through different mix of sources is 4,58,794. And the institutional bonds constitute 1,93,000 crore rupees, that is about 42%. And the foreign currency borrowing, including the FCNR-B loans, constitute about 31%. 54 EC capital gains tax exemption bonds 9%, and tax-free bonds and infra bonds about 2%, and term loans from banks and financial institutions 16%. And the foreign currency borrowings account for about 30% of the outstanding borrowing as on 30th June 2024, as compared to 29% as on 31st March And 99% of this borrowing which we have made, that is hedged after the maturity. And the cost of borrowing which we are having in respect of this outstanding borrowing in respect of foreign currency borrowing is about 6.54%, which is much lower as compared to all other sources of borrowing which we are making. 7 crore rupees. Vis-a-vis the first quarter of the last year, it is 19% higher. The net interest income net profit stands at 3,442 crore rupees, and total comprehensive income 3,525 crore rupees. The loan book has reached 5.
Thank you, Sanjay sir. May I request CMD REC to please address the gathering, please.
Shri V.K. Singh, Director Project, Harsh Parveja, Director Finance, Shri Sanjay Kumar, ED Finance, the independent actors present, Mr. Narayan Tirupati ji, all the officials of REC, and my dear friends from media. I am happy to share with you that REC has maintained the growth trajectory which we have started, which we had embarked 2 years back. In the FY23, our loan book had increased from 3,85,000 crore to 4,35,000 crore, marking an increase of 13%. But in the last financial year, FY24, our loan book increased from 4,35,000 crore to 5,09,000 crore, registering a growth of 17%. We had committed to our investors when we had announced the annual results of FY24 that we are targeting growth trajectory varying from 15 to 17% in the next 5 to 6 years by the year 2030, and we are targeting to double our loan book to about 10 lakh crore by the year 2030. I am happy to share with you that in the Q1 first quarter of the current financial year, we have been able to maintain the growth trajectory of 17%. Our loan book has increased by 17% to about 5,30,000 crore. We have also been able to reduce our net NPA. Our net NPA, net credit impaired assets, have been reduced to 0.82% as compared to 0.86%, which was there at 31st March 2024. And if we compare as on 30th June last year 2023, our net credit impaired asset was about 0.97%. We are committed to become zero net NPA company by the end of this financial year, because all the assets are under advanced stage of resolution, as we have made in the presentation. Our 16 assets are there, which are there. Out of 16 assets, 7 assets are heading towards liquidation. That process is going to be completed. We have already made 100% provisioning in respect of those assets which are heading towards liquidation. Remaining assets like Sinnar Thermal Power Plant in Nasik, KSK Mahanadi, and Hiranmaye project. These 3 operating assets are there, where bidding process has commenced, and we are quite hopeful that we'll be able to resolve these 3 operating assets, and we are expecting good amount of write back on this resolution of these assets. We had sanctioned about 90,797 crore. This year we have been able to sanction projects worth 1,12,791 crore. The disbursement has seen a growth of 28%. Last year in Q1 2023, we had disbursed 34,133 crore. This year we have registered a growth of 28%. Now our disbursement at the end of Q1 was 43,652 crore. The most distinguishing feature is that our sanction as well as disbursement for renewable energy project is increasing by leaps and bounds. The disbursement in respect of renewable energy project has seen a growth of 249% as compared to Q1 of last financial year. Our revenue from operation has grown by 19%. As if we compare Q1 figures of last year from 10,976 crore, it has increased to 13,023 crore. The total income has also increased by 19% from 10,981 crore to 13,037 crore. The net interest income has gone up by 30% in Q1 as compared to last year's Q1 of 6,612 crore. Our net interest income has grown to 4,713 crore. The net interest margin has increased by 36 basis points from 3.28% to 3.64%. Our return on net worth is about 19.51%. The market capitalization in Q1 has increased by 219% from 43,356 crore. The market capitalization at the end of 30th June was 1,38,348 crore. And as we are talking, till yesterday our market capitalization has increased about 1,65,000 crore. We would like to assure our investors that we'll be able to hold on to our spread of more than 2.9% and net interest margin which we achieve at 3.64%, that also will be able to hold on. So as promised to our investors, the larger picture I would like to present is that we are getting sufficient business from our traditional coal-based generation as outlined by Ministry of Power recently. The additional capacity generation which is coming up in brownfield project, that coal-based generation capacity will require a capex about 6,67,000 crore. As our market share in traditional power sector is about 20%, we are hoping that we'll capture minimum business of 20% of the 6,67,000 crore opportunity is there for financing coal-based generation plants. The distribution sector has seen a total turnaround with the introduction of revamped distribution sector scheme. The operational and financial efficiency of distribution companies have started improving. The government department dues are coming down. The legacy dues also coming down. They've been able to maintain the predefined trajectory as committed by the respective state government's cabinet resolution. Most of the states, more than 95% states are able to maintain that trajectory. The legacy sector dues are coming down. Government department dues are coming down. AT&C losses has seen major reduction. More than 5% reduction has happened in the last 1 year. The introduction of late payment surcharge has really improved the financial health of not only distribution companies but also the generating companies and transmission, because their dues are getting paid now. The legacy dues are getting cleared over a period of 4 years. This started from June 2022. Now we are quite hopeful that by the year 2026, all the legacy dues of generating companies and transmission companies will get liquidated. And the most important thing is that the current dues are being paid on time, and so much so that state governments have started paying the current subsidy quarterly in advance to the distribution companies. So this has overall resulted in improvement of the distribution companies, which in turn has improved the financial health of the generating companies and transmission companies. National rooftop.
इसी कंपनी की बात करें तो इन्होंने मीडिया इनिशिएटिव लिया है और अपना पूरा ब्रीफ दिया है। हमारे बीच में संजय कुमार जी हैं। संजय जी, क्या कहना चाहेंगे? आज देखने में आ रहा है कि आरईसी दिन प्रतिदिन बढ़ते कदम।
नहीं, आरईसी ग्रोथ अच्छी है, सैंक्शन और डिस्बर्समेंट सारी अच्छी है, प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी भी अच्छी है। तो अगर आप देखें तो यील्ड और निम भी हमारे मेंटेन्ड है। यील्ड और कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स तो काफी कम आ गई है। तो पहले 7.13 थी लास्ट ईयर तक, इस बार 7.5 आ गई है, तो 8 बेसिस पॉइंट्स का फर्क पड़ा है। तो गोइंग फॉरवर्ड में ग्रोथ अच्छी है, हमारी लोन बुक अच्छी बनी हुई है और आगे हमारे ऑलरेडी जो ऑर्डर बुक भी है वो भी काफी सब्सटेंशियल है। तो हमें लगता नहीं 4-5 साल तक तो ये ग्रोथ में कोई ऐसा इश्यूज आएंगे।
सर, अगर हम इसके टॉवर की बात करें, जो हम सोलर प्लांट की बात करें, उसको लेकर के कहीं ना कहीं आरईसी ने बहुत अच्छा मुकाम हासिल किया।
नहीं, आरएससी सोलर वगैरह में लैंडिंग तो कर ही रही है। अभी रूफटॉप सोलर स्कीम जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की है, तो उसमें भी आरएससी नोडल एजेंसी है, तो उसमें भी काफी अच्छा काम हो रहा है। तो सारे का सारा मॉनिटरिंग जो है वो आरएससी कर रही है।
कहीं न कहीं सब्सिडी को लेकर के सवालिया निशान उठते हैं कि सब्सिडी जो मिलनी चाहिए वो नहीं मिल पाती, उसके लिए कहीं न कहीं परेशानी।
ये सब्सिडी अभी शुरुआत ही हुई है, तो इसलिए थोड़ा सा इश्यूज हो सकते हैं, बट धीरे धीरे वो सारा स्ट्रीमलाइन हो जाएगा, तो उसमें कोई इश्यूज नहीं आएंगे।
क्या सर एजुकेशन सिस्टम के अंदर भी आरईसी अपने कदम रखने वाली है?
नहीं, एजुकेशन एज सच में तो नहीं है, बट हमने कुछ स्टेट्स के अंदर मतलब एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस के लिए लोन्स वगैरह फाइनेंस किए हैं, बट वैसे एज सच नहीं है एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लॉजिस्टिक में आरएससी है, तो उसमें एक दो स्कूल वगैरह के लिए हमने फंडिंग की है, बाकी कुछ ज्यादा नहीं है।
दिल्ली के लिए क्या कहना चाहेंगे? दिल्ली इस समय बहुत ज़्यादा पीछे है सोलर प्लांट को
नहीं, दिल्ली तो वो तो इंडिविजुअल्स के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है ना। वो तो रूफटॉप सोलर स्कीम्स जो है उसके अंदर वो एज सच तो आरएससी का कोई रोल नहीं है, तो उनको पोर्टल पे डालना पड़ता है, उसके बेसिस पर ये है। तो आरएससी तो आगे उनको सपोर्ट कर सकती है, सब्सिडी वगैरह प्रॉपर्ली टाइमली मिले तो उसके लिए हेल्प कर सकती है।
बहरहाल बहुत-बहुत शुभकामनाएँ भारत टीवी परिवार की ओर से आरईसी के बर्थडे।
धन्यवाद।